Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my Daily Dose with Tim. Today is season 3, episode 43, and we just came out of a very, very long series of 12 episodes on lease options. So today I thought I would actually take a different direction and just, maybe not so much slow things down, but really just changing up some of the thought process here. And today, I really want to share the 5 rules of investing. I mean, these 5 rules are probably one of the first things that I learned when I first started getting trained to become an educated and a professional real estate investor, and subsequently a business person and entrepreneur altogether. And really, I find that these 5 rules are super valuable just because at the end of the day, yes, you're watching this, we're learning all about this so that we can create a better financial future and expand our financial means for ourselves. Because again, we love money because we see that as a very, very amazing and one of the best tools available to mankind these days. And at the same time, though, because it is money, it is the most commonly used tool. Some people don't use it right. And the point is, though, money, the funny thing is a lot of people tend to say that money changes people. I will say that maybe a small percentage of that is true based on everything that I've seen. However, what I think personally that holds true even more is that money really doesn't change anybody at the very core. It just magnifies who you are. So again, we have students have come across investors and really, really business people. And if you really look at the very successful business people, entrepreneurs out there in the world today, the big names that everybody knows, they are also known most of the times as philanthropists, meaning that they have causes, they have charities, that they set up foundations that they contribute to. It is for a reason, for a purpose, to really make the world a better place. And then I've also witnessed certain people that really doesn't matter how much money that they actually do get to make. Number one, I don't see it as sustainable. Number two, it's for very selfish reasons. And number three, it doesn't actually change them all that much in terms of how they treat themselves and how they treat others. Now, I know it's very, very general. So let's come back here and let's go through the 5 rules. And I'm really hoping that this resonates with you as much as it did for me about 13 and a half years ago now. So this is very, very important in my opinion, because we can learn all the hard strategies we want. We can even learn some of the soft skills and we can continue to hone them. However, we're going a little deeper today. These are the rules and these may become your core values. I don't know, but hopefully, like I said, they stick with you and you hold them very true to your heart, as I have for myself. So number one, as an investor, I'm just going to say you always got to learn to make money when you buy. Okay, make money when you buy, not when you sell. Because remember, at this point now, we are episode 43. Making money when you sell with any type of asset class, any type of business ventures, puts you literally in the amateur bucket. It literally puts you in the amateur bucket. And for those of you, if this is your first time watching my Daily Dose, jump back to episode 1 of this season so that you understand the context and the dots that you get to connect at this point. Because again, you don't want to be seen and treated as amateur when you are properly financially educated, rather than just picking an asset class, and in this particular case, picking a property, and then you think that that makes you a real estate investor. No, it does not. It may make you a real estate buyer, a real estate collector over time. It does not actually make you a true investor. Remember, every single successful business out there, they've gone through valuation changes. It can go up high, it can drop all the way down. What's actually keeping them going, meaning there's sustainability, there's longevity, and there's, more importantly, momentum behind the entire operation, is that they are very laser focused on performance. And it's no different when we are real estate investors, okay? It's no different than that. And so making money when you buy, not when you sell, is always, always the key. And obviously, making money throughout the entire deal is also awesome, depending on the strategy that you choose. And speaking of strategies, you want to make sure that you have multiple exit strategies, multiple exits. So on some level, this may seem a bit like a review. At the same time, though, sometimes I find that 40-something episodes in, that means we're in week 9 of this season. A lot of people tend to start to forget everything that we've gone over. So I also want to see this as a summary. And really, these two things are still super important because I know sometimes it's very, very easy to get emotionally charged to want to go into a deal, into a property, into an opportunity. And I think I've already admitted this to everybody that's been watching this, following me for not just this season, but for the last 3 years now at this point, is that I still get super emotionally charged whenever I go and see a property. For example, I'm setting up a short-term rental right now with my very first home right here in Edmonton. And that is a very emotionally charged journey, simply because of the fact that every time I walk into that house now, I have memories, especially. And it's not just the fact that it's pretty looking, it's nice, it's the fact that there's memories there. And I know a lot of you guys, just like me, how you got started really was by moving out of your first home and you ended up treating it as a rental. And so really, these two have really, really saved my assets for so many times and so many years, okay? And I just want to make sure that these two rules you really hold true, because even from a value standpoint, if this property is nothing personal to you, these two things you have to make sure you remember. And even if it's buying a business, you want to make money when you buy. Remember when we went through the distressed properties topics and the few episodes that we covered with that topic, making money in the buy is really the key. Because why? Ultimately, this is about financial education. And what that means is you got to learn how to protect yourself, your hard-earned money. And once again, if you are leveraging other people's money, you have to make sure you protect theirs too. And so these two rules are super important. And the other thing is that you remember, having multiple exit strategies, it means it also, first and foremost, separates you from being an amateur, because we don't do buy, rent, and pray, right? So having multiple exit strategies, it also means that you have multiple ways to make money. Regardless of market conditions, supply and demand, you have enough strategies that you can pivot. We kind of like to joke that that was the word of 2020 when COVID lockdown started happening. Everybody had to pivot. We had to make a change. We had to adjust. We had to adapt, okay? And so if you remember, I always say this: your exit strategies determine how you make money and how much money you make. So your exit strategies determine how you make money and how much money you make. And having multiple exits create another layer of money-making means, and more importantly, protection, security, and safety. Way too many people only learn one strategy, stay in one market, and they have no way to truly pivot. They have no way to truly pivot. And this is why I don't understand why people continue to do that. And it comes back to really investing in yourself, okay? I'm going to give you a little bit bonus rule, is that at every single turn, you got to learn to invest in yourself. If you forgot about it, go back to the episodes about the mindset of the poor, the mindset of the middle class, and the mindset of the rich and wealthy. The rich and the wealthy, they understand that they got to invest in themselves first and foremost, because we are by far our greatest income generating assets. Nothing else. It's not real estate. It's not gold. It's not stock market. It's not crypto. It's not EFT. It is the 6 inches between our ears. Okay. And so having multiple exit strategies, those skills, those knowledge, those education, and the mentorship, the coaching that you receive, it all stays with you. And this is why so many of the big names, once again, you've probably heard them say this: if I lose everything tomorrow, I'll know how to make it back, no problem. And they're that confident. And the funny thing is, that was the one thing that really got me through, the one mindset, the one thinking that really got me through a lot of the storms that I've been through. And by storms, I literally mean financial downfalls. Okay. So over the last 13 years, it was not always rainbows and butterflies. And I hope that you know this. I'm very straight with you. I'm very transparent. I'm an open book. And every question that you've asked, I've answered. And there's no hiding around it, because I've also been on different shows and podcasts to really share my stories and my journey. And it's the fact that I was able to recover from that, almost triple the size of my portfolio in less than half amount of time, when I almost lost it all in 2016, that really gave me the confidence to go, you know what? It has nothing to do with real estate. Every single time and every step of the way over the last 13 years, I've had multiple aha moments, and I'm literally pouring my heart out and giving everybody my all during all of these episodes. And so again, I just want to say that these two are probably the harder rules, as in they're very easy to follow. Okay, and make sure you take it to heart, because they're so important and vital to your long-term success. I don't want to say survival, because long-term it is about success, and you will get there. Once again, one of my favorite quotes these days is from Bill Gates. Most people overestimate what they can accomplish in 1 year, and underestimate what they can accomplish in 10. So again, just remember, we're in it for the long haul. And I know for a fact that many of you have texted me, have DM'd me, and said that I want to learn this so that I can pass it down to my children, so that they don't have to go through the same hardships, the same financial stressors as I did. And I've already shared this with you. Everybody's going to have money problems one way or another. My money problems are different from your money problems. However, for the most part, I would invite you to come and have my money problems. That's the honest truth. And this is not to brag or show off or anything. It's the fact that you just simply have more choices when you have more financial resources living in the modern world today. Again, if you choose to do something else with your money and your time freedom, that's up to you. At the same time, though, as we live and breathe and have to feed ourselves, doesn't matter how much you eat, there are bills associated. Okay, it's not a free world, and we're not freeloaders, right? So moving forward, number 3 is constantly find ways to add value. I know when we're going over the BRRRR process during distressed properties, we always talked about adding value. Adding value a lot of times meaning adding dollar signs into our deals. And I love that. At the same time, I also want to remind everybody, adding value sometimes may not have anything to do with the properties or the deals you have on the table. It's how you are adding value into the process, into the business, into other people's lives, into your investors' lives. And this is why, for example, at Trust Your Talent, every single year we have an Academy Awards. And one of the award categories is what we call Deal Creator. We want to recognize the investors, the trained investors that are constantly sharing the wealth. So deal creators are for investors who have proven to take on joint venture partners, to take on private lending, to help their immediate friends, family, coworkers, whoever, to make the money work harder for them and to protect their money for them. And that kind of value add, yes, it is very solid from a dollar amount perspective. However, when you can help somebody else not worry about money, or better yet, you know what? That's a big goal. When you can help somebody else minimize the stressors that come from money, you are adding so much value to people's lives. I want you to really think about that. And this is why, to me, undereducated and uneducated investors, they're very dangerous, not just to themselves, but to others in the world. And how do you become a truly educated investor? Remember, we've gone through this, understanding the wheel of wealth, understanding multiple exit strategies, understanding the SMP approach of an educated investor so that you can pivot and protect and grow at every single turn. And you gotta learn, most importantly, how to differentiate between information versus true education. Okay, I've seen a lot of people, they go from mastermind to meetups to meetup to investor meetings. They're all great action steps to take. However, literally, I just showed up at another meeting a couple of weeks ago, and at the end, this one lady just popped up and said, my brains are so full. I've been going to these things for a year and a half straight, and I still don't know where to start and how to start. Simply because of the fact that it's just information. And if it's not relevant, it might as well be garbage, because so much of these things are everywhere these days. As long as you have access to the internet, we live in the information age. Information is cheap now. It means nothing. And so I want you to really think about that, okay? And then the next rule is what we call have integrity. And this goes back to how I literally open today's episode with, is that money doesn't change who you are for the most part. It puts a magnifying glass. It puts a magnifying glass on who you are, okay? I've come across people, once they start making money, they're just as nasty and just as mean and rude to others and just as entitled. And I've come across people that, you know what, they've always been givers. And the more money, the more financial resources that they have, the better off they make their own lives and the lives of people around them. It's about empowering others and enriching others. And also going back to the 5 core values of Trust Your Talent is health, sustainability, joy, fulfillment, and last but not least, impact. And this is why the Trust Your Talent team is here. And I'm very, very blessed because Trust Your Talent, I wanted to start a community, an academy like this for a long time. It's just that I'm very blessed to have been joined and continue to stay with a growing group of trainers, mentors, and coaches who really, really honor the same mission, which is to help people create financial independence, one person at a time. And so having integrity, it is so, so massively vital because integrity, the definition, my favorite definition is doing the right thing, even when you don't think anybody's watching. Doing the right thing, even when you don't think anybody is watching, okay? And that's the thing. Even when you don't think anybody is watching, I know the lure of money sometimes, and I'm not going to stand here and act like a saint. There have been moments in my career and in my life, period, where my mindset, my value almost got compromised because of money, because of wanting to put food on the table, wanting to survive, wanting to thrive. However, all that pretty much went out the windows after in the last few years, ever since I started building Trust Your Talent Academy. Why? Because one of my personal values is be the change you want to see in the world and also leading by example. And you got to fight those demons. It doesn't mean that they don't happen. However, you got to stay true to who you are. And one of the quotes that I literally just saw about 20 minutes before I hopped on today's episode is you had a purpose before somebody else had an opinion. Go and finish it. And so I know my purpose because of everything that I've been through in life is to really push financial education out there into the world so more and more people can learn how to manage their money, to grow their personal finances, and most importantly, not stress about it, okay? So sometimes that even goes beyond just creating a great portfolio that's going to put food on the table and creating generational wealth. It's the fact that you are never having to be kept up just because of financial resources. And so coming back to having integrity, it is so massively important. And for some of you, I know because I've covered this in some of the classes that I've trained in the past. And I've literally had students that come to me and they'll take a picture and go, look, I actually typed it out, printed it out, laminated it, and put it in my wallet. And it's actually on my phone as a screensaver as well. Some of them even put it up as their screensaver on their computer at home, the 5 rules of investing, so that they continue to remind themselves on a daily basis, especially when you're at the beginning of this journey. And so last but not least, okay, what's more important than having integrity? Well, not that it's more important, is that the 5 rules is to develop the ROI mindset. Okay, the ROI mindset. What is ROI now? It's return on investment. Return on investment. Now, it's easy to talk about money. Okay, it's easy to use money as a measurement after all. That's why all of you, or most of you, I don't know, are here for. At the same time, though, again, remember that your investment may not always be money or dollars and cents. It could be your effort, it could be your time, it could be your attention, it could be your knowledge, it could be your education that you're sharing with others. And again, it also links very, very closely to the value add portion of the rules, okay? So developing an ROI mindset. Why? Especially when it comes to real estate, I've seen so many people having such a hard time selling properties. And so many people, they're like, I've talked to a lot of really long-term and successful real estate investors, and they will always say that the one biggest thing that they regret is selling properties. And you've heard me say this over and over again. I never regret about it because it has nothing to do with properties. In fact, literally just had another conversation with one of our joint venture partners where we are the money partners. And our joint venture partner, the managing partners, they are thinking about restructuring their portfolio, maybe pivoting so that they can put their time into better use. And the conversation that I had literally with them was, don't worry about us. If you want to sell, if you need to get out of the deals that we have together, again, remember, we have first right of refusal. So either allow us to buy it out, or let's go into the public market and sell it, or we can do seller financing, whatever the case may be. I always want to make sure that they understand, don't worry about us. Don't worry about us. I know in the beginning when we got into the deal, this was the agreement. However, we understand things change. And if we get to free up the borrowing power, if we get to free up the cash, if we get to free up some more equity, we know how to put money to work, because that's truly where the ultimate power is. And many of you know now at this point, I'm in different asset classes anyway. Real estate is where I got started, is still where the majority of my income source and wealth is in. However, again, when I sell properties, I don't cry about it, okay? Because remember, properties are like people. The older they get, the older we get, same thing. The more problems we have, the more money it takes to maintain us. And so just because you want to hang on to a property doesn't mean that is a good or even the right decision, okay? So I just want to really share these 5 rules. I remember actually one of my earlier mentors took at least 2 hours to go through all 5. So I'm condensing them down for you, and I'm hoping that you will take these to heart. And at different stages in your investing career, you're going to take away something else and attach different and new meanings to each rule yourself as well. And who knows, maybe you will come up with a few more. Let me know if you do. So with that said, I want to once again encourage all of you who are in the Greater Toronto area that next weekend, the weekend of July 15th and 16th, we are going to come to you live with a 2-day workshop, where it's going to be very intensive. We're going to be covering the strategic real estate investing fundamentals, and we're going to cover strategies like wholesale and assignment, multifamily investing, lease options, creative financing, negotiations, asset and income protections, amongst other topics and other strategies. So if you're looking for ways to start or scale, make sure you come out. You're not going to find another academy out there that is education only, meaning we're not just feeding you information, or we don't train you just enough so that you can invest in our deals. This ultimately is about teaching you how to fish. So for some of you, if you've never heard of that saying, it comes from a wisdom quote that I said, and now I quote, "You give a man a fish, he eats for a day. You teach a man how to fish, he eats for life." We want to teach you how to fish for yourself for life. And that's why we've already said this. It's not get rich quick. However, it is definitely get rich for sure. So with that said, have a great rest of the day. And I will see you back here at the next episode. Live well, everyone.